results in these finer structures. And that's how you would go about doing it post-processing. And the results are actually quite dramatic if you look right here versus right here. So this is how you would do it post-processing. And then let's move on to doing a Z-stack. And then from a Z-stack, I'll show you how to do large volume. It's going to be the same thing with small volume. And then we'll do an EDOF afterwards to look at the comparison between raw EDOF, raw maximum intensity projected, Thunder, and then Thunder EDOF. So before I move on to that, does anybody have any questions relating to what I just showed? Okay. So let's go back to acquisition. We're going to remove all of these images from the imaging window, except for the last one there. And we're going to turn on the Z information. And you know what? Let's just go to a 20x objective. I'm going to click on live. We're going to switch on to the GFP filter. And we're going to go to an area that has a nice, good structure of interest. So something right here. Try to include both of them. Okay. So remember, we're going to look at our histogram. You know, we're quite high, and so as I move in Z, look what will happen. You can see that I hit regions of low, and then I hit regions of almost quite high, up to 58,000. So this is going to be an issue because as we move through Z and as we acquire the Z stack, the deconvolution algorithm is going to hit an area where it's going to be almost saturated. And when it tries to reassign photons back, that particular area, this particular Z size, or particular areas in the images might get saturated. So we right away we know that we need to reduce the exposure. So let's just drop down slightly. And so, you know, we're fine with something around 274 milliseconds. Again, we'll go ahead and check to make sure that the histogram looks okay as we move through Z. So I'm just moving the Z motor, and everything looks good. We're going to do the same thing for the red channel. Right, the red channel again has some pretty nice high exposure. And so I'm going to drop it down slightly. And we'll drop it down to something around 318. So now as I move in Z, you can see that the results looks pretty good in terms of the histogram. Okay, so the next thing to do is we need to actually set up our Z ranges. So to do that, we're going to go back to our GFP filter set. We can use that as a reference. Click live. And now all I'm going to do is define a top and a bottom. Now, before I do that, let me just mention that we're going to do EDOF. So to remind you, with EDOF, issues that can happen with EDOF is you choose the wrong channel for EDOF, one, and the second case being that you add far too many Z planes out of the Z planes, which will make the algorithm a little bit hard to determine what the maximum contrast is. And to remind you, large structures have maximum contrast, so high contrast, low frequency. Small structures have low contrast, high frequency. So the algorithm works best for structures or two channel that has the largest size structures, which have high contrast. And so by having two yellow Z planes, it's going to look like a big blob, and so it's going to think that's a region of high contrast, so you might not have a sharp EDU image. You could always crop use that later on post-processing. I'll show you how to do that again. I'll show you where you do that again. And you can just crop the first couple beginning slices and first couple end slices. And that's how we solve the problem and run video again, and hopefully you have your image afterwards. We're going to do this process in that because as I mentioned, you have access to expected channels and use it as a reference for video web, as opposed to using it within the scene module, or you have your extended depth field, because it's automatic by default uses the first channel, which in this case is GPP. So if my channel was reversed, I would use the wrong channel for that. So it's always advised to you to do it post-processing, but it's completely choice. So let's go ahead and start setting up the stack. We click live, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just physically moving the Z drive. I'm moving it counterclockwise, so you see on the right side where we have focus, and back just find my focus and have an idea of what it looks like. Because here's what's nice. So I'm going to go side focus, or past focus, and I think there's pretty good. Because you can see some of the line structures are slightly out of focus. It gets more out of focus. And then we're going to click again. We're also going to check the red channel. And the red channel looks pretty good, but we know that most video outcome come to green. So we can maybe tweak that just to add more something around there. And so we really adjust things easy. And so remember, we're not going to begin again because we're going to offset that easy. We're going to click this arrow to adjust that easy. You can see that change ever so slightly by line. Then what we're going to do is we're going to find the end of the image. So I'm now moving the focus drive off. It's going to focus. And pass the focus slightly to somewhere around there. Check that out. And then define that at the end. I'm going to look at it a little bit too, just to make sure I have an amount of focus, and I am, which is good. So I'm going to stop this, and let's review this. This is the thin sample based on, based on what I said earlier. That's why you might not see a large difference in IC. Maybe you see a difference, but it might not be a drastic difference. That's because there are different samples. But right here, it's telling us that we have a Z size, or Z thickness of 11.5 microns. And we're going to use some optimized for that sampling at night liquid. So it's choosing the optimal slice thickness in order to get the best sampling. To remind you, you can change that by clicking on the number of steps. If I have this, look what happens to the step size changing to 1 micron as opposed to half micron. And if I go from 24 to, which is ideal, to 48, now I'm oversetting, and I'm going to reduce step size by half to 0.24. Oversampling doesn't do anything other than increase the acquisition time and possibly overreaching if you have a highly overreach for work. So system optimized is the best option to choose if you want to set like click and get that image while not over imaging unnecessarily. So I'm going to turn off. Actually, I'm going to leave the turn on. And we'll show you that IC does that work on a 3D stack. And then what we'll do is we'll show you like post-processing what any of these two algorithms look like. But maybe we'll just jump straight into large projects and small projects. It's exactly the same thing. in terms of setting parameters. So again, vector shield, refractive index doesn't really matter what you can see, but again, I like populating this. We then click on advanced settings. We're just going to use default settings. And we're going to do propagation clearance on both channel 1 and channel 2. Click X. So again, to recap, we set that Z, we set that exposure, we set that Z, we set on ICC, and then all we need to do is click Start. So we click Start. On the right-hand side, it's going through